do you want to go live on our side? Yep, sounds great.
You're leading.
Yep. Yeah. Just let me know when. So at 2 minutes. Yeah, he's with Philly Field Hockey. Right, is that your
Yes.
your camera guy?
Yes, that's my guy.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Spark Athletic Complex near to the campus of Upper Dublin High School. It is the Phila Girls Field Hockey Game of the Week with a break in the weather finally. Matthew Gillis on the Sports Fanbase Network along with Kathleen Simone. A bit of an interesting match today, the Upper Dublin Cardinals against the Abington Ghosts, and this is two teams who have not seen each other in 15 years, but because of a realignment in conferences this year, it puts Abington now in the Seoul American Conference, and we have a conference matchup between these two schools.
We certainly do, and I think it's going to prove to be a very competitive game. Entering this game, Upper Dublin stands at 2-0. They've outscored their opponents 11-1, with the win over Hatboro Horsham 5-1 and over Cheltenham 6-0. Abington enters the game with the record of 2-1. First game of the season, they lost to Council Rock North, but they fought back, came back, won the next two games against Springfield, Montgomery County 4-0, and against Upper Moreland 6-0. Both teams have definitely proven to be offensive powerhouses, putting up 10 and 11 goals.
Two players to look at on the field for both teams today. We'll start with the visitors and number 6, Paige Doyle.
Can't say enough about Paige. She's definitely leading the pace for the Abington Ghosts on the offensive end. In the first game of their season, she had her hand in every goal either assisting on 3 or scoring 1. In her second game, Paige came up with 2 goals and 2 assists for a 6-point game. So definitely a player to watch in this game, and looking forward to seeing what she can do against the Upper Dublin squad.
Abington, under the direction of head coach Katie Small, has Elena Swift, Allie Campbell, Grace Kerwin, the aforementioned Paige Doyle, Anna Joseph, Devin DeMaria, Michaela Keisel, the two captains Eileen Hughes and Olivia Geisler, along with Abby Thomas in their starting lineup today. And we will talk about Upper Dublin. And if you're talking Upper Dublin, you have to talk about their forward, number 1, Lauren Green.
Lauren has been very successful for the Upper Dublin team so far this season. I'm going to look up her stats here. I know she was a key contributor in both games.
Okay. You got a goal?
And definitely will set the pace for the Upper Dublin squad today. We'll see what happens.
I think you mentioned when we were talking pregame that she had a hand in all 4 goals in one of their games earlier this season. So she's certainly been a stalwart on the front line for them. Upper Dublin, under the direction of head coach Heather Boyer, has Lauren Green up front along with Allie Rock and Lydia Casey. The sister duo of Peyton Coleman and Ryan Coleman in the midfield, along with Maisie Hanson and Michaela DeMichel. They have Emma Kate Powell and Madeline Casey along the back line, with Jamie Rock and Megan Muth between the pipes. 2-0 for Upper Dublin on the season overall, and in the conference for Abington, 2-1 overall, 2-0 in the conference. So this certainly is one that looks forward to being a barn burner of a game, and we are getting set for the introduction of the players on the field.
Abington is the Ghosts, right?
I also have to mention that if this game is any reflection of the Game of the Week poll, it certainly will be competitive. Last week's poll brought in over 5,600 votes. And it's interesting, about 2 hours left in the poll, and this game and the game that trailed right beneath it were separated by 6 votes. So a great civic lesson in itself, that every vote definitely counts.
That is for sure. Every vote definitely counts as we sit at 3:27 on this beautiful, because it is not raining, afternoon in Upper Dublin. We are in the Fort Washington area of Pennsylvania, so just a shade bit outside of Philadelphia proper, but still within what is considered part of the Philadelphia metropolitan region. And in field hockey, that certainly stretches a long distance. And of course, we're privileged to be able to do these games throughout the course of the season with Phila girls field hockey. And Kathleen, just talk a little bit. You mentioned the polling, how this actually happens, how we ended up here today with this broadcast.
Absolutely. So about 4 days ago, 4 teams were put up on 3 online polls. You could go on to philafieldhockey.com, on Twitter or Facebook at PhilaFH. Fans, players, coaches, and certainly players vote for what team, what game they want selected as the Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week. And with that, they get this fantastic live stream, which is new for us this year, as well as an article and a Facebook photo album. So we are delighted to be here. I think the polls are just a great way to energize the community. Not that it needs it that much, because as you mentioned, Philadelphia really is the hotbed for field hockey. And in this Philadelphia area, there are 110 high schools that compete in 15 different leagues.
Yeah, and you talked about how much of a hotbed the voting has been. We had Methacton versus Springford over the past weekend. This game today with Upper Dublin and Abington, and I know there's a slew of very interesting games that are still in polling for next week. So it looks like every week we're looking at 4 games that all potentially can be huge games and have huge impacts in the conference seasons, and then also as points go for the district playoffs.
Absolutely, and I do my best to find competitive matches between oftentimes rivals, schools, as well as representing programs that are very strong programs that make it into the state tournament, as well as teams that might just compete at the regular season. They are equally important, and so throughout the season, at least 10 more times, we'll be putting up Game of the Week polls that have all different levels of hockey, all fantastic.
So this is week 3 of the poll, which means that we've got about 7-8 weeks left to go in the course of the field hockey season before we hit into district playoffs. And of course, for Upper Dublin, and talking to their head coach Heather Blair before the game, an interesting change for them this year in that they actually moved down a division inside of the PIAA districts, heading from the AAA down into the 2A level. So we'll see how that benefits them or works against them when it comes time to playoffs at the end of the season.
I think that will give them a boost. They have fallen short of the playoffs. Last year they didn't make it in, and I think being in AA can only help. Time will tell. And also, this is the second week for Game of the Week. Our Game of the Week 3rd poll will go up on Saturday, so stay tuned and be sure to vote.
So Abington has now had their starting lineup introduced and on the field, as Upper Dublin is getting theirs introduced and onto the field. For those who are tuning in that might be a little unsure of how field hockey timing rules work, it is 2 halves of 30 minutes each that are played at the high school varsity level, a little bit of a difference from what you see in the NCAAs or in the international play, where it is a 35-minute half. So we're going to see 2 30-minute halves. All the rules, though, are the same, and one thing that was a change this year that we know many coaches have said this was a great moment was the placement rule regarding the ball. They don't have to bring it all the way back out now, so that's definitely one different. And talk a little bit about how that rule change has benefited teams.
I think it's absolutely benefited them because it keeps the flow of the game going and enables the offense when there is a foul inside the 25 and they can self-start, get the ball moving. They don't have to wait till the defense sets. bring the ball back to the dotted line. We'll take on a pause for a moment for the national anthem.
Something you only probably see in high school sports, which is the versatility of players. One of the Upper Dublin players serenading the crowd with a rendition of the Star Spangled Banner, of course, very fitting, being that we are just one day past from the memory of 17 years from September 11th. So it's always great when you get a chance to hear the national anthem.
And well done.
And so back to our conversation, we were talking about the difference in the rule this year of being able to just restart from a position, not coming all the way back to the 25, and you can finish your thought on that.
And just carrying on with that, I think the coaches are strategizing. They're teaching their players strategies to get that ball moving as quickly as possible without having to run the ball back, and hopefully we'll see some more goals as a result of that.
At least it's yellow.
Abington in the maroon-colored jerseys with white trim and numbers. Upper Dublin in the white jerseys, red numbers, black kilts. And we are off and underway as a quick hit to the outside. Coming from Paige Doyle, does not connect. Upper Dublin will have the first restart of the game, and it's going to come from Ryan Coleman. Coleman trying to get it down the sideline to Lydia Casey, back to Coleman. Cannot connect, and it's picked up by Madeline Casey. She's going to try to get it over into the middle of the pitch. Stopped immediately by 3 to 4 Abington defenders. A little bit of feeling out going on here early on.
Ball's moving nicely on the turf, and I understand this is the first year with this new turf for Upper Dublin, and it certainly is beautiful. There are very few teams left in the Philadelphia area still playing on grass, and I was excited to hear that Springfield, Montgomery County, just a hop, skip, and a jump from here, has their first turf game today. They've been campaigning for that for some time. The field will be named after the head coach, Ms. Nixon, Coach Nixon, who's been at the helm of that program for, I believe, more than 30 years.
Yeah, playing on a sprint turf, which is a synthetic grass surface. So it looks like grass, it feels like grass, but certainly does not play like grass. And the ball actually has the ability to move on this surface, not similarly to what you see on grass surfaces, where a lot of times the ball will kind of just die. Upper Dublin with the restart here on the outside line, trying to get a lift and a hit. And it's now going to be Doyle for Abington in the middle of the field, trying to get through traffic.
Let's see it again.
And not exactly sure who number 2 for Abington is, as she was not included on the initial roster, so it looks like one of their JV players might potentially be up for the game today and actually into the lineup. So we'll get an update on that for you.
Either that, or I'm thinking maybe it's a blood jersey, that she had to replace. I don't know. But definitely good ball movement there. It seems as though Abington is able to really kind of hold the midfield, not letting Upper Dublin progress too much more, although as I'm saying that, the ball's working its way into the circle.
Upper Dublin trying to reverse it, going on the opposite side touchline and into the circle, but to no avail.
Make sure you're running along with the ball so when they need it, you're right there.
And they'll bring it out, and a lifted restart comes all the way back up to midfield, touched by Michaela DeMichael, and then bounced around through 3 to 4 different players before finally garnered on possession, and Upper Dublin will have it. Ryan Coleman getting the start, going on the outside touchline. Coleman inserted inside, bouncing wide.
Very nice strong hit, though, from Coleman. She had quite a few players, but they were all marked very tightly by the Abington defenders.
Coleman's going to try to go again on that outside touchline, trying to connect with her sister, Peyton Coleman, but that goes wide. And a turnover to Abington. Abington opting to continue to work on that same touchline. Fight in the middle. Garnered through. And a quick sweep has it into open field. And that is Devin DiMaria in possession. Pushing it back up top to Eileen Hughes. Hughes looking over to Paige Doyle. Doyle makes a move, one left, one right. And it gets popped off of a Upper Dublin stick and back. And Doyle will have the restart. Coming from the dashed 25-meter circle.
Devin DiMaria is a freshman and has been a spark for the Abington's attack already just in her first year.
If you are confused about lines on the field, as there are about 5 different lines, we are playing the yellow ones. So if you see the large yellow circle along with the dashed circle just a few feet away from it, and then the yellow dashes that are along the sidelines, those are the field hockey lines. There are also soccer, lacrosse, and men's lacrosse lines all included into this field of play. Upper Dublin still working that outside touchline. Peyton Coleman on the restart.
Ball seems to be stuck on that side of the field. We haven't seen much action over here near the press box or even in the center of the field for both teams.
They did try to start their first possession of the half on this side of the field, trying to switch into the midfield. Didn't seem to work for them, and then so just seemingly lifted it across and have gone to the opposite side, and everything now seems to be slanted to that opposite side touchline in front of the bleachers opposite of our broadcast position. Early on, just about 6 minutes into this first half of play. No score on the board yet. Between two teams that are feeling each other out defensively and offensively, trying to figure the position, and a knee has caused us to get our first corner of the game. Insert up to the top, stopped right away, not bumped over, trying to make the shot was Ryan Coleman, but to no avail, and Abington blocked it and has possession.
Michaela Kizell came up with that block on a pretty quick coming out of the cage there, able to hold back on letting Upper Dublin even get a shot on goal.
It's very interesting to see that kind of difference, I guess. Maybe it's a style difference of some teams that will stop and kind of bump it over to another forward for that shot versus just stopping and trying to create that shot. Does it create a kind of distraction within the defense, whether they're looking focused at one forward versus potentially two that might be up there?
Absolutely, and a lot of the programs for our Philadelphia area high schools, they play at such a high level that they've got a whole arsenal of different attacking corners, many of which, as you said, are redirected hits. That's the ball sent to the top, and it's not just a fire on goal. Although I think we did see at the game last week, our game of the week last week, both of those goals for Springford, who did end up losing the game, but were scored on corners, and both of which were direct hits.
So always a difference of opinion in which way to go. As we saw on that corner, a direct hit. And now Eileen Hughes directly in front as the play has finally come to within front of our broadcast position. And they continue to move it down the field as it's number 25, Becca Gable, getting her first action of the game. Abington listing 7 bench players for the game, 6 field players, and then the backup goalie, Ellie Hughes, who, correction, actually looks to be in net today. She was not listed as the starter originally.
I feel like both teams are a little slow in taking the free position shots, letting the defense set up a little bit, and that goes on both ends. My guess is that the coaches will tell them to move the ball quicker on a free position to take advantage of numbers up opportunities.
And a corner called. So Abington getting its first corner of the game.
Looks as though Grace Kerwin will insert the ball. And we have a stopper, Olivia Geisler.
So Abington looking to go for that bump, and they do so, and it's completely picked up by Ryan Coleman, tossed around in this mixer, off the post back, and it's a goal by Grace Kerwin.
Good job, Kerwin!
That was some impressive attack. That was the ball got a little fumbled on the direct insert, but Paige was able to get a reverse hit on goal, deflected off the goalie's pads. We had someone else fire the ball back, and it actually hit the post. Little scramble in front of the goal, and sure enough, Abington put the ball away. So persistence.
It is why they call it a mixer when you're 5 yards in front, because anything possibly can happen. You just mix it up and kind of go for what you can. Kerwin hits the goal, and Abington leading 1-0. Still early in the first half as we are coming up on the 20-minute mark. That'll put us about 10 minutes into this first 30-minute stanza. A long hit down into open field, nothing doing, and a missed kick from the Abington goaltender, but quickly picked up by the defense and moved out of play. And Upper Dublin will have a restart on the outside line.
Go get it,
Inside shot, middle mixer, and a foul called.
Violet, you can go a little wider if you can.
Is going to bring it out.
That's the third time Abington's Aliana Hughes has really shut down the attack by Upper Dublin's attack by stopping the ball and clearing out with a nice strong hit.
So Abington showing their forte on defense with inside of the circle today. And that was an insert that went in and right out before it connected. The attempted connection was going to number 33, Jen McCary, the sophomore forward who has entered the game for Upper Dublin.
Emma Kate Powell for Upper Dublin did a terrific job of changing fields, moving the ball successfully from the left side, sweeping it all the way over to the right, opening up some opportunities for the Cardinals.
So just as we were talking about the weather giving us a break, the drizzle has started to fall, making for an interesting factor to add into the game. And there are a few of the Upper Dublin athletic staff who have come down and called a timeout at 18:15, and it looks like it's going to be a weather delay, and we'll get an explanation on this for you.
We'll go with the lightning because we're sitting in the middle box.
There's not anything that's been very visible from our broadcast position, but apparently they have called They have called a lightning delay, which means that it will be a mandatory 30-minute delay by PIAA rules.
We wrote 8:15 down in the book, correct? Right?
So we are
You got it there also?
going to take a break in the broadcast, I guess, as I'm looking down at my producer, Josh Relman, see what we're going to do. We'll take a break in the broadcast and see how things break down here, and we'll be back with the action from Upper Dublin. You're watching Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week on the Sports Fanbase Network. services, right? Do both. Yep. Oh, right, yeah. Yep. Cool. Welcome back to Upper Dublin High School, the Spark Athletic Complex. It is a rain delay due to thunder and lightning in the area. We are 11 minutes, 45 seconds into the first half of the game between Upper Dublin and Abington. Brought to you today, the live stream of the Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week from Payroll Service Solutions, based right outside of Philadelphia. Payroll Service Solutions is a huge supporter of high school sports and the Sports Fan-Based Network. If you are a small to medium-sized business in need of payroll and benefits, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY. We are also fortunate to have a second sponsor of the game today. Just like field hockey players want to get faster and stronger, Physical Therapy and Wellness Institute has a new way to improve your body. NASA Technology Anti-Gravity Treadmills. Call PTW at 215-855-9871 to arrange a tryout at one of our locations, now located in Horsham, in the Horsham Square on Horsham Road. Guess you can't get too many Horsham's in that one. Early morning and night hours available. Stop in for a free consultation today. Log on to www.ptwinstitute.com for more information. And remember, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. We're still under this rain delay due to thunder and lightning in the area on the Sports Fan-Based Network. We'll be back with you as soon as we get a break in the weather and a return to action. right, welcome back to the Spark Athletic Complex on the campus of Upper Dublin High School. We are through the weather delay for lightning in the area, and this live video stream of the Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week is brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions, based right outside of Philadelphia. Payroll Service Solutions is a huge supporter of high school sports and the sports fan-based network. If you are a small to medium-sized business in need of payroll and benefits, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY. 18 minutes, 15 seconds left to go in the first half. There is still a 30-minute second half to be played, so a 60-minute game just turned into a 48-minute push contest. And on the whistle, immediately an insert on the corner as Abington is on defense. Upper Dublin starting out on offense.
And that was Upper Dublin's second corner attempt. Abington has not had any, and both teams match up 1-to-1 for shots on goal. Ball has not been in the circle too much for either team. It's been a lot of midfield play, kind of between the 40s or the 30s. So I think hopefully after that time, the coaches were able to get the players to amp up their game so we can get a little more offensive action from both teams. And it does speak a lot about their defense as well.
Upper Dublin with a disconnected pass, and it was turned into an Abington possession. Grace Kerwin curling back and forth, trying to get the ball through a Upper Dublin defender, but to no avail, and it is a battle in the midfield now between number 12 Ryan Coleman for Upper Dublin and the Abington defense, and Coleman's going to have a restart at the 40. Coleman, a straight hit down the line. She connects that in with Jen McCary. Back to Coleman. Coleman off on the side to Hansen. Maisie Hansen pushing back, and an Abington turnover possessed by Becca Gable and pushed down. That's picked up by Anna Joseph. Joseph getting inside the circle.
Well done.
And a pushing call.
This will be Abington's second corner attempt. I earlier said I was looking at the book, 0 corners, but that's in fact how Abington scored their first goal of the game.
So it is another corner attempt, and the goal scorer Kerwin this time on the push out. Shot back into the center, immediately caught and sent right back to the top of the circle. And Upper Dublin's going to try to work the outside line, and it's going to be Lauren Green. Green pushing it across. Lydia Casey trailing along with her. Casey has it in the middle in space. A sweeping shot into the middle, and it's blocked and turned aside from Elena Swift. First time we've called. I have her listed as Elena Swift, interestingly.
Okay. I bet you're right.
Names and jerseys abound in the mix today, as we've seen a few players getting called up from the JV rosters that we do not have listed on our varsity pages. As is in high school sports, a lot of times things are decided the afternoon of the game.
That was a nice pass in from, let's see, Emma Kate Powell actually put that up to Lauren Green, who then tapped the ball a little bit in, but foul was called.
And a wide shot has possession back to Abington, immediately swept up in the midfield by Emma Kate Powell. Powell turns it over, and it's headed back in the opposite direction. Number 15, Eileen Hughes, trying to make a move. To no avail, and Hughes now in a battle in the midfield, along with her teammate Elena Swift. Hughes has the ball, this time trying to get it through the center, trying to connect to Anna Joseph, unable to do so. And the bouncing is picked up by Becca Gable, and a little stick slapping going on in the midfield puts a foul call in possession to Abington. Insert from Paige Doyle. Doyle wide of the net and sending it over. Upper Dublin will have the restart.
Abington's two midfielders are center midfield Paige Doyle and number 15 Aileen Hughes, doing a nice job pushing the ball up to the attacking line.
And the insert quickly taken by Abington did not have a player 5 yards out of play, and so a turnover. Upper Dublin has it on the back. This is Coleman. On the insert, hard insert, goes through the Abington defense, picked up by Casey. Casey trying to work that outside line.
I got a tip over red first.
And they're going to call the tip. So it goes off of Keisel, and Upper Dublin maintains possession, but then quickly turned over in the midfield. Upper Dublin not able to pierce through the midfield defense of the Abington Ghosts today. Lifted and sent down the line. Quickly turned back. And a cross in Ryan Coleman. Trying to switch the field outside. Lauren Green has a pickup, trying to gain space. She does to the outside, and she's got Hansen in front of her.
Good ball speed by Lauren Green on that redirected hit. Let's see what she can do.
So she had Maisie Hansen in front of her, but got tripped up by the Abington defense, giving a restart to Upper Dublin. Coleman's going to try to get it on the outside to the other half, Peyton Coleman. And a ball centered in to the circle. No avail, and onto the outside, and an insert from Peyton Coleman. Coleman trying to get into the circle, and Abington's defense has put up a wall, not allowing the Cardinals to get anywhere within inside of the circle. They are keeping them outside of the 23 even.
And that's Elena Swift again leading that defensive charge, captain of the team. Definitely a formidable force in the backfield, really, as we just mentioned, stopping a lot of opportunities for Upper Dublin.
Elena Swift, one of those tri-captains, along with Eileen Hughes and Olivia Geisler. A tri-captain set for Upper Dublin as well, with Ryan Coleman, Emma Kate Powell, and Madeline Casey. Ticking down towards 10.5 left to go in the first half after we had a 30-minute delay due to weather. There was some thunder heard off in the distance of the area, and as PIAA rules, which go by NFHS rules, go, it is a mandatory 30-minute delay anytime something is identified within the area. Therefore, we had that delay, and now we have restarted this half at the 18:15 remaining mark. And we will have a probably abbreviated halftime given what occurred, and then the 30-minute second half. Abington now trying to work that reverse side touchline with a long hit that was unable to be connected to anyone. Devin DiMaria, the closest player in the area, but a deflection gave it benefit, and Abington has a restart about the 20-yard line of the football field lines.
Girls, you gotta help her. Where's the wing? Help her. Dab it corner.
This now is going to go to Paige Doyle. Doyle with the restart.
There's an example, if you're not very familiar with field hockey, how the ball must be carried 5 yards before it's put on goal. And I mentioned at our first game of the week that
shot inside the circle, kicked out and away by the goalie Megan Muth. And a defensive turnover.
Ooh, dangerous hit, and see if Abington can capitalize on this.
Abington having a chance there as Emma Kate Powell is unable to hit, stick going deep down in, but their attempt is wide, and it's going to be a turnover back to Upper Dublin.
If you have some questions about rules, shoot us an email at rulesphilafh@gmail.com. Chris Maloney will be answering your questions there. Chris knows everything and anything about the game of field hockey. He works with USA Field Hockey in training umpires on rules, and he's an author of 4 field hockey books. Whoa, beautiful play. Spark of fire by, let's see who this is, number 13, Jasmine Cubbage. Got that attacking spark going and leading to another Abington corner.
Abington's going to set the corner with Devin DiMaria on the outside. 2 players up top. They have Olivia Geisler looking to be the stopper position, and they're going to go to Paige Doyle. Doyle's going to take it. Straight shot by herself into the mixer. Bounced around and then finally kicked out of danger by Emma Kate Powell, but there were 2 other players, one looking like Elena Swift in that mid position, trying to dump it in and get a second goal for Abington.
Emma Kate Powell has been a strong defender for the Cardinals at center back.
Here's a run down the line. Lydia Casey having a chance, but the ball goes out of bounds. Upper Dublin not being able to maintain its possession while trying to go for those long hit sweeps down the field and not being able to connect.
I wonder if, although so early, it's a little bit of a sense of panic. They want to get that goal in there to tie up the game, and rather than looking stick to stick, it's a little bit more bigger hits.
One goal is not insurmountable in field hockey, nor is 2 or 3, as we have seen sometimes before.
That ball's staying in.
So the wet field coming into favor here as it is slowing balls down on this sprint turf synthetic grass surface. And Abington seeming to have a little bit of a structured and better possession here. This is Cubbage moving on the outside to Gable. Gable trying to go inside into the circle. Gets the hit and the corner call.
You have to think that Abington's going to capitalize on a corner sooner or later. I believe this is their 3rd in about a 8 to 10 minute span.
So DiMaria going out to the corner position again. And it's a setup with Geisler up top and Doyle. This one's going to go right to Doyle. Looking for the straight shot. She kicks it back. And a sweep that was attempted. And we're not exactly sure because we do not have a number 2 listed on our rosters. But this one is turned over, and a quick turnover right back by Elena Swift. She is unable to keep a hold on it, goes out of bounds, and the Cardinals will have the restart. Coleman down the line trying to find Casey. This time she connects. Lydia Casey is free. She's got Jen McCary in the circle along with Maisie Hansen and cannot connect to anyone.
Missed opportunity. She was wide open in front of the net, but I think the ball carrier was so focused on maintaining possession, which is certainly understood, that didn't see her open teammate.
And directly to the right of our broadcast position, the Upper Dublin coaches immediately talking to their players, calling for them to get a little bit more vocal on the field, start calling, letting them know where their field positions are, as they were wide open in that situation, and Casey just unable to connect with anyone. Here's a long hit, sweep down the sideline, and now Abington with a chance. Wide open in the center. Coming down is Anna Joseph, and she cannot push it through to the cage. So 2 breakaways, 1 on each side, and with 4:20 left in the first half, a little more spunk into this game.
I agree. I think Abington in particular is showing some acceleration. They get the ball and a little fire.
And here goes Lauren Green down the touchline trying to connect again with Casey. The modus operandi for Upper Dublin seems to try to be getting Lydia Casey free on that outside touchline and push her down the field. We'll see what they do. They go inside this time to the center, trying to connect with Madeline Casey. But to no avail, comes to the near side line. And this is Jasmine Cubbage trying to get down the side. Through into the circle, position in a corner.
Abington seems to be adept at forcing fouls inside the circle to create corner opportunities for them. Rather than looking for the shot, put it on the opponent's feet, make them do a third-party obstruction, do what you can to create this opportunity.
This is Grace Kerwin on the outside. Kerwin on the insert. This time it goes to Geisler. Geisler trying to bump over Doyle. The direct hit comes right to the goaltender. Save tipped back, scored by Kerwin on the redirect from Jasmine Cubbage. And with 2:56 left to go in the first half, Abington's put a second on the board, and Kerwin has 2 on the day.
Well executed. I feel like Abington's got their groove. They're looking for open players. They're looking to force fouls, and they're capitalizing on a couple opportunities there. So well done. Certainly not thinking that Upper Dublin can't make this a game really quickly. They're a strong team, and they've demonstrated good stick skills, good passing. I think it's just a matter of maybe getting that spark.
So we talked about the difference in corners and strategy of corners, and this is one where Abington have been trying to go with Paige Doyle on the direct hits. This time they go with the redirect, and it comes in benefit as they put it into the back of the cage, and Kerwin has 2, and so does Abington. And a knee by Upper Dublin has a turn back as we approach on 2 minutes left to play here in this first half. Abington seeming to have the benefit of putting themselves into pressure, which is more bodies of Upper Dublin players causing the obstructions to occur. And here's a wide sweeping hit that doesn't connect and goes anywhere away. So what could have potentially been an Upper Dublin possession here before the end of the half turns into another turnover. Turnovers have been a bit of an issue today for Upper Dublin, as they, on the restarts especially. Upper Dublin picking up a loose ball in the midfield. Ryan Coleman trying to get anything started. She can't, and Abington will have a minute left to work with.
And Ryan's been there. Her positioning has been excellent. She's been able to make a couple interceptions, cut the ball off, but not quite connecting with the offensive line.
Bouncing around through, and the mixer shot and scored!
Wow.
And it is number 25, Becca Gable, putting a third on the board just 50 seconds before the half.
I think that was a perfect example of taking that split second and placing the ball well. Definitely showed great poise. Sometimes when you get that ball, you're under pressure. The goalkeeper's in front of you. Lots going on in your mind in that nanosecond. She took a second rather. Collected her thoughts, got her thoughts thinking, and placed that ball perfectly in the pocket where it was open on the left side of the goal cage.
We've seen Abington try to use that sweep from the top of the fan to get inside. They do it this time with affinity, and it connects for the third goal of the game. And Upper Dublin, I'm sure at this position, is just happy to sort of see the remainder of the half out. As we have 10 seconds, inside of 10 seconds now, the whistle and another turnover is going to give Abington the ball, but with 2 seconds left on the clock, they're just going to hear the horn sound. And we have finally reached the end of the first half of today's game, as we see Abington leading the Upper Dublin Cardinals 3-0 and a 7-minute halftime. And today's game is sponsored by the Physical Therapy and Wellness Institute. Got pain? It's not in your head, folks. 70% or more of us all suffer from joint pain. Some need surgery, some don't. With 9 convenient locations, PTW is your go-to physical therapy provider, now located in Horsham Road on the Horsham Square Shopping Center. Stop in for a free consultation today. Log on to www.ptwinstitute.com for more information. And remember, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. You are watching the Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week on the Sports Fan Base Network. We'll be back.
You have pictures of Upper Dublin.
And we're back with just about a minute to go before the end of the halftime break. And today's live stream of the Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week is brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions, based right outside of Philadelphia. Payroll Service Solutions is a huge supporter of high school sports and the sports fan-based network. If you are a small to medium-sized business in need of payroll and benefits, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY from the Spark Athletic Complex, just outside of the campus of Upper Dublin High School. It is the Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week featuring the Upper Dublin Cardinals and the Abington Ghosts. Abington leading the match 3-0 after the first 30 minutes of play, which was delayed for 30 minutes due to thunder and lightning in the area. Luckily, that has all completely cleared out of the way. The sun has actually come out now and made the second half of this day one of the best looking of the week so far.
I agree, and also a good look for Abington coming out of that lightning delay. Really came back with fire. I think both teams were pretty evenly matched in terms of possession, shots on goal, and corners prior to the lightning timeout. And then Abington came out ready to play. I'm anxious to see Upper Dublin take it up a notch because they're certainly strong players, good strategy, and could be a real game changer if they get their game rolling with a little bit more spark.
Ready for action live on the Sports Fan Base Network. Matt Jolis with you here on the play-by-play, along with Kathleen Simone from PhilaFieldHockey.com. And Abington in the maroon jerseys and kilts with the white trim and numbers. Upper Dublin in the black kilts with the white jerseys and red numbers. Upper Dublin moving left to right, and a quick shot down in is kicked away.
Get there, Devin. Abby, get there.
And Ellie Hughes knocking the ball off to the side.
That was a beautiful
And a quick
save.
corner call.
Oh, okay.
And Upper Dublin with a chance to get an insert here and get back on the board.
It's interesting as working and running PhilaFieldHockey.com, I'm always rooting for both teams. I kind of have a very unusual position because I want both teams to do well. I want both teams to win. Obviously, that's not the case. But I would like to see Upper Dublin show a little bit more what I already see is underneath what they've given us yet today.
Other way, other way.
Lydia Casey had the insert there. It was kind of just dragged around by Ryan Coleman and then tipped, bringing a restart back up to the top, and Coleman switching fields over. This is kicked around, going wide, and not to the avail of the Cardinals, and Abington will get the ball.
Nice insert by Madeline Casey, though. Real strong hold on that ball. Passed it about 20 yards. Got it toward goal, and it looks like that might be a little bit of their change of game plan right now. I'm seeing a little bit more bigger balls.
Paige Doyle going for the high lofted restart there, sending it down to Devin DiMaria. DiMaria working left and right, trying to get around three Upper Dublin defenders, not to avail. And a quick restart just swept away by Coleman and sent into no man's land, as there was not a single white jersey in the territory, so a lost opportunity. Sends it back Abington's way, though that is stopped by Lauren Green. Green trying to work around, gets the call, and Upper Dublin will have possession deep. Coleman trying to get it into the circle, blocked away. Dangerous hit. And here is Paige Doyle, who we talked about during the pregame show, the speed and stick control of Doyle as she tries to move down the near side line. Doyle again with the lift. This is corralled by Abby Thomas, and a whistle immediately sending it reverse to Upper Dublin. Again a long hit, blocked away this time. Upper Dublin trying to go with those long sweeps, not working in their favor, and Becca Gable has this going her direction along with Abby Thomas. She'll set it back for Doyle. So Doyle will get the restart, sending it right into the circle, and a tip by Thomas is blocked away by Megan Muth.
Good job.
Coleman restarts down the line, trying to connect. And it's Allie Rock that she was looking for. Disconnects a bound here early in the second half. And Upper Dublin has the ball in the center of the field, and it's Lauren Green trying to move down the outside line. Cannot gain space, but it is tipped out off of Abington, so it will stay a Cardinal possession. Shot inside it, right into the middle. A directed play from Lydia Casey goes just wide of the goal mouth.
And it is pretty obvious that Ryan Coleman is taking pretty much every free hit that I've seen since the beginning of this half, whether it's on the right side, left side, or center of the field, taking those free hits with a big ball on goal, trying to jumpstart the Cardinals' attack.
And a hit from Coleman, as you were talking about on that free start, goes off of the foot of Grace Kerwin, and it'll be an inside again on the free hit. Right to the middle, and a jam up between Emma Kate Powell and Becca Gable. Has another restart for for Upper Dublin.
Once again, Elena Swift blocking that offensive push.
Elena Swift being one of the stalwart middies. And here's Upper Dublin trying to break the circle again. Cannot do so. Doyle with the block, and she is charging out fast and hard. And a slip by Anna Joseph gives Upper Dublin a chance to reconnect. We talked about this sprint turf surface. It is a synthetic grass surface, so it does have some grip to it, but at many times can be a slippery surface. And with field hockey, unlike a lot of sports, we do not see players wearing deep cleats a lot of times.
That's correct. They're actually wearing turf shoes, or in many cases just sneakers.
So not a lot of grip down as Upper Dublin trying to go for a defensive position. Not in favor, and a turnover is going to give Abington a start right up at the top. Surprising to not see Abington just kind of pick up the ball and go right there, because we were talking about that rule change this year of them not having to bring it all the way back up to the top, and yet we saw them kind of old school style there.
Exactly. I think sometimes there's just a little learning curve, and kids getting used to it. But once they do, it can only benefit the attacking team.
Keep her there, keep her there, keep her there.
So Abington opting for the old form in the restart there as they tried to set their offensive possession, and obstructions abound are keeping it for them.
All right, Allie, not too far.
Kerwin pushing a little bit too hard against Lauren Green, turns it over to Upper Dublin, and a shot right in the mixer is tipped away and sent back by Eileen Hughes. Hughes working on it outside against Emma Kate Powell, and Powell seems to have the better of it, does get the call in her favor for the check.
Nice defense by Emma Kate. That's her second defensive block in the last minute. Really holding Abington to limited shots.
And a shot wide. Many of the Abington players signaling for a corner, but it looks like it's just going to be a free hit up top from about 40 out. Into a swarm of white jerseys as they continue to try to push inside the circle. They get it there, and it is bumped away by Emma Kate Powell on the outside to Maisie Hansen. Hansen trying to work through the crimson line. And you seem to disagree with the referee's call there. Looked like you were calling for a corner. The referees did not call so. This time it is a corner call as it goes off of the knee.
One player from each of these teams was a Phila Field Hockey Senior All-Star last year. And I'll be hosting again the 5th annual Phila Field Hockey All-Star, showcasing the best players, the best of the best, from 110 high schools. Players are selected from their coaches in each league, and the game will be the 3rd Sunday in November, right after the state final.
Well, as a graduate of a Central League school, I hope that we'll see a number of Central League players featured in that All-Star game coming up in November after what should be another thrilling postseason and PIAA state championships, as they seem to be in both here in Pennsylvania, and then of course during the break we were talking about how amazing these two states, Pennsylvania and then New Jersey right across the river, are just field hockey hotbeds.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you, the senior all-star game is just, it's fantastic. I mean, when you think about it, the very top players that are seniors from 110 high schools, it is some high-level hockey. And this year the game will be played at Bryn Mawr College's Appleby Field. Last year we were at Spooky Nick Sports, but decided to move the game back outside again. And speaking of Bryn Mawr, a little shout out to Victor Brady and the Owls for making program history last night. With their 4th win, they became the winningest program in Bryn Mawr field hockey history. Now you might say 4 is not a lot, but for them 4 is, and the program has only seen a great upswing under Victor Brady's direction.
Kerwin with the pusher outer, otherwise known as the insert on the corner. 2 players up top with Doyle. She takes it by herself, eventually bumps it over to Eileen Hughes. Hughes, a shot in the center, around the mixer, hits a leg, and we're going to get another corner.
Anxious to see that fly for Upper Dublin get out there a little faster.
Kerwin will get the restart again. Goes short to Doyle this time. Doyle trying to go from the angle. Shot kicked away.
Fantastic save
by Megan Muth.
Really impressive. Looks like she was blindsided too. I mean, she had at least 4 girls in front of her, but was able to keep her eye on that ball and clear it out very nicely.
And another corner called, this time for a dangerous stick. And so Kerwin goes again for about the 4th time. Kerwin goes short again on the angle to Doyle. Doyle misses it this time. It has to get hit back. She takes a sweep. It goes off of a foot. And so we're going to get another corner again. And this is something that does tend to happen in field hockey, especially when you get those running mixers happening inside of the circle.
Absolutely. And you'll see in the college game that corners are more golden than I would say almost in high school, because so many times I would...
that ball gets tipped up and goes right into the face of Madeline Casey.
Tough girl, though. Looks like she's jumping right back in there.
They are wearing face shields and mouth guards, so they do have at least some semblance of protection up in that area, but it will sting. I've been fortunate enough to only ever get hit by a field hockey ball wearing a full cage. One of the benefits of being a goaltender versus a field player. You also have about 80 pounds of padding on you, too. Curling around the ball is Allie Rock. Rock, the sophomore forward for Upper Dublin, and having to curl left and right, and one of those things that are a bit different in field hockey versus ice hockey. You can't use the opposite side of the stick. It's bowed out on one side, flat on the other side, and so you have to curl around the ball to try to get a reverse hit, similar to what you see lacrosse players doing, where they twist the stick back and forth.
But you know, players are so skilled today that they very often carry the ball on the left side of their body. So anyone that says, why you can't play with the other side of the stick, well, you can play on the other side of the body. Yesterday was the first posting on PhilaFieldHockey.com of high school league standings, and they will post every Tuesday night. We'll be able to see where each of the teams stand in their league, 15 leagues in the area. And although yesterday's was a little anticlimactic in that many of the teams had not faced opponents in their league, certainly in weeks to come, I think people are going to be hitting that page wanting to find out where everyone is.
Upper Dublin working that outside touchline finally did connect with Lydia Casey. It got into the circle, and Casey was able to get it turned in for a corner. She now has the insert up top to Coleman. Coleman fumbles it a little bit. Jen McCary tries to get the pickup, and again, it is Elena Swift, who has just been amazing in the midfield for Abington, getting the stop. And as Upper Dublin tries to insert again, Swift bothering everyone. And this time, Coleman tries to get the sweep wide of net. But deflected, and Upper Dublin is going to get the free hit restart. Up top, Coleman again. Every single white jersey inside the circle is marked. Coleman has no option but to go outside to emicate Powell, and Powell cannot get it inserted, and a turnover sends it with Paige Doyle and Abington.
I do feel like Ryan Coleman is everywhere. I keep looking up and seeing her with the ball on free position hits and transition, blocking the opponent's rush. Here she is again.
That's the other Coleman. That's Peyton Coleman.
Yes.
There are two of them on the field, just to confuse you a little bit, but and they both play in the midfield position. The two sisters, Ryan and Peyton Coleman, lifted hit downfield, controlled by Anna Joseph, but picked off by the aforementioned Ryan Coleman, and Coleman gets the obstruction call, getting the free hit restart, and she sweeps right inside, trying to get the connection, has it, but it is off of the foot of Jen McCary and turns it back over to Abington. Abington trying to work the inside, going right up the middle, pushing outside. They do have Devin DiMaria free on the touchline. Is going inside now to Abby Thomas. Thomas turns it over, and it's sent defensively back to Maisie Hansen. And they whistle with a restart for Madeline Casey.
13:40 on the clock. Still plenty of time to score 3 goals, but hoping that the Upper Dublin Cardinals are not getting a little frustrated. They have time. They need to stick with their game plan.
Michaela DeMichael trying to push one up forward to Jen McCary, but could not connect there, and a errant pass from Abington trying to be controlled by Madeline Casey on the touchline. She was unable to do so. Bounces back up, and Jasmine Covage, who did put forward one of the goals for Abington today, trying to move the ball forward. She's blocked away by Coleman. Ryan Coleman has the hit upside, immediately turned over to Eileen Hughes. Hughes sweeping through, and a turnover on the pickup by Emma Kate Powell. And an interesting call there, as Powell was just wide open in space. Quick shot into the circle, touches no one and goes wide. And Upper Dublin will try to get something going here as we hit 12.5 left in the second. Again, another long hit, misconnected, is trying to go for Lydia Casey, and the run is on. kicked away. It is actually picked up by Carey. She has Casey free, and they cannot connect. And now Carey again with the ball inside. So Upper Dublin trying to force the issue and get something going. Had a moment there. Now a turnover, and they have numbers and a stick check call.
Beautiful self-start by Ryan.
And Ryan Coleman with the running self-start there. Now she goes hit inside, deflected away. And it's going to stay Upper Dublin ball. Kicking off of an Abington player in defense. It did not look like it went off the goaltender, otherwise it would have been a corner.
If you take a look at the field, you'll see 4 white shirts behind the ball and no red shirts behind the ball. Abington is packing their attackers back on the defense, making it very difficult for Upper Dublin to penetrate.
That has been a position that Abington has been in all game, which is protecting the box, and a timeout, interestingly called by the Abington head coach, Katie Small.
Katie's in her second year, I believe, at Abington.
Yes,
she was spearheading the Jenkintown program for years before that, and she's been instrumental in starting a youth program for 2nd through 6th graders in the Glenside area, along with the new McDevitt coach, Diane Lieber Campbell. And I think that's a whole effort to get the girls playing field hockey younger, which has been missing a little bit in the Glenside area, and that will just fuel their programs both for the Catholic schools and the public schools in that area.
And you were talking about the fact that both of these coaches have been well versed in not just field hockey but also philanthropy as well, mentioning of course what Katie Small did, and Heather Boyer on the opposite side for Upper Dublin doing some great things as well.
Absolutely, and frankly, win or lose this game, Upper Dublin, they are winners for sure. The team has raised over $61,000 through their Corners for Cancer program. It started in 2009 when a former player's mom was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. And as a tribute to Mary Kay Greenwood, the Upper Dublin field hockey team has rallied, and each year they host a Corner for Cancer program game where they have fundraising throughout the year. At football games, they do individual fundraising, they do car washes, and then at that game, the Corners for Cancer game, which this year will take place Saturday the 22nd versus Upper Moreland, they raise awareness, wear pink shirts, but more than that, it's actually not just one game for them. At the game, they'll have raffles and giveaways, but it's more than one game. It's a part of their program from day one, even before preseason starts. And the National Foundation for Cancer Research gave a big shout out to Heather Boyer and the Upper Dublin Cardinals for raising the most money for their program throughout the years for cancer research. So kudos and congratulations. In this article that I'll be posting tomorrow, I will include a link to Upper Dublin's Corner for Cancer program if you want to check it out and donate. I'm sure they would love that.
Abington on the board, 3-0, 11-10 left to go in the second half. Upper Dublin will have the ball to restart just outside the circle after the timeout called by Abington head coach Katie Small. Check that, Abington actually with the restart, and it's going to be Elena Swift. She tries to go outside. That is quickly tipped and then turned over, and Peyton Coleman gets the restart going off of the foot of Olivia Geisler, and an insert from the sideline again for Upper Dublin as they try to get something back. Tipped up to the top to Emma Kate Powell. Powell trying to get the insert to the circle, and a corner called.
Fantastic, and it's great to see their center back Emma Kate Powell step up and be part of the attack. Let's get some strong physical hits from Powell, not only in the backfield. Let's make it part of the attack is probably what the coach is
Casey up top tries to go to the outside. Tipped inside around. The goaltender was drawn. They are unable to get it.
May have been a defensive save by Paige Doyle. Hard to tell from this angle, but whether it was on goal or very close. But regardless, definitely helped get that ball back in Abington's possession.
Coleman's first hit, nowhere to go. And a blocking possession again by Abington gives Paige Doyle the ball. Doyle's going to come to the outside, looking to connect with DiMaria. Gets it down the touchline to DiMaria. A whistle was blown for a hit, and Doyle will actually restart. Sweeping play down the sideline again, trying to connect to Devin DiMaria, who is free in space. And it's going to go the opposite way this time. Picked up by Peyton Coleman. Coleman looking inside. Gets connected to Lydia Casey. Casey, just one hit and obstruction called right away. Sends it back to Ryan Coleman for the restart. Coleman on the restart. Collected right away by the Abington defense. And it's DiMaria trying to move down the touchline. Possession and or lack of it starting to become an issue for both teams as things get a little chippy with 8.5 left to play. This is where carrying the ball on your stick more than just sweeping away might come into the better position of forte.
You know, it's tough when you're down by 3, and sometimes you think that big ball is the way to go to gain yardage, but if it turns into a turnover, not the case.
And that is Elena Swift, who has been a #1 player, and we don't just mean that by jersey, a little bit hobbling, and she's calling for an injury substitution, finally going down on the field and gripping at her ankle.
That would be a big loss for Abington. Even with just under 8 minutes, a lot can happen, and she really has been the anchor of the defensive back line.
Swift limping off under the guise of her head coach, Katie Small, and she'll be substituted into the game by Molly Mellisson with 7:50 left to play. And a wide hit connected to Lydia Casey this time. She has a player free outside, and trying to go back into the center of the circle was Maisie Hansen, and no one was there. Check that. I'm sorry, that's number 33, Jen McCary. McCary had the sweep inside the circle, and no jerseys free, but Abington again 4 back behind the ball. Upper Dublin trying to get something started here. Peyton Coleman's going to have the free hit up top. Coleman trying to sweep around, stick checked right away, and she will have another free hit. Brings it inside the circle, 5 yards, not in her favor as she gets called for the foul. Lifted sweep outside, blocked down by DiMaria. DiMaria pushing across to Doherty.
I think Powell has hit her teammate perfectly on those lofted free positions, which is not easy, and she has nailed that.
First time we've called Alice Doherty's name today as she gets some time with 6 minutes left to go in the match. And it's Doyle Pushing down left and right, curling around her body, inside to the corner. And it's Paige Kerwin trying to get a hack at it. She is unable to do so. Pops back up top. And now Lauren Green has a run down the line. Green trying to get a sweep by. She cannot get it over the stick of Olivia Geisler.
Olivia is another captain for Abington and has been a stronghold in the defensive end as well.
Side.
Side insert coming from Paige Doyle. Lifted again into the mix. Too many people in the play. And a dangerous play is called, and it'll be Ryan Coleman with the restart. Coleman trying to get anything out of play. And Lydia Casey that is, with a defensive turnover. Casey has it with Jen Carey, and Carey cannot get past the Abington defense.
I just feel like the Upper Dublin midfield is doing a great job getting the ball up, but there seem to be numbers down every time they possess the ball on the attacking end. So it's kind of hard for 3 forwards to take on 5 or 6 defenders.
Abington has had 4 to 6 crimson jerseys behind the ball almost the entirety of the game today, and a 3 forward front for the Cardinals has not been able to break that box. Contained defense all day long for the Ghosts, who are looking to see this one out, up 3-0 with 4 minutes to play. And a good sight directly in front of our broadcast position as Elena Swift, the injured player, is on the touchline and now back into the game. So obviously just a bit of a stinger for Swift as she heads her way back in. And Allison Cheng is at the line now for Upper Dublin, looking to get an insert in her first play of the game today. 3:44 remaining, and another turnover sends the ball down into Michaela DeMichael. Picked up by Peyton Coleman. Coleman trying to get anything inside as it's pushed outside. She does have Lauren Green deep along with Lydia Casey. Comes back to her sister Ryan Coleman, and Coleman cannot get that inserted. And now she takes it and drags it through, trying to get anything into the circle. Does get it to Lauren Green. Green inside to Casey. Casey trying once, trying twice, and gets a corner called.
Well done, Upper Dublin. Definitely showing persistence, stick-to-stick passes, but again, they were down numbers.
So with 2:44 and counting down left in the game, the best sequence that we've seen on the day out of the Upper Dublin offense produces a corner, and they try to go to the outside this time. Swept up top to Ryan Coleman. Coleman trying to go for the shot, loses the ball completely. It comes all the way out to midfield for Michaela DeMichael, and then Kerwin trying to control it for Abington, turns it over, and a quick insert with 2 minutes and change remaining. Goes right up top, tips over an Abington stick, picked up.
Good job, Alina!
Casey had it in the middle. No chance for her. Peyton Coleman trying to get it in play. And one benefit of being close to the field is players will correct you, and that was Jamie Rock for Upper Dublin playing up, mentioning the fact I mentioned the wrong Coleman sister, as there is a few pairs of players with similar names who are featured on the roster, and it gets quite fun for us in the broadcast booth.
Lauren, when you had?
I did one game last year where I think we had four pairs of sisters
Whoa.
on the team, and 3 of the pairs were actually in the starting lineup. So most of the starting lineup was the same last name, and you really just kind of have to call everybody by full names at that point. 105 and counting left in this match today. The Phila Girls Field Hockey Game of the Week on the Sports Fanbase Network. Abington leading Upper Dublin 3-0. First time in 15 years these two teams have played each other. Due to conference realignments, it has put them both in the Seoul Athletic Conference, the American division of it. And it's going to be looking like Abington getting the best of this game. That will move them to 3-1 overall, 3-0 in the league, and hand Upper Dublin its first loss on the early stanza of this season. Well, despite all the weather delays and issues of the day, it's been a pretty good experience being out here at the Spark Athletic Complex. Of course, Kathleen, thank you for being a part of the broadcast today, and to all of our SFBN crew who have weathered it out. Final horn sounds, 3-0 Abington over the Upper Dublin Cardinals.
Terrific game, ladies. Shout out to the coaches and the players and all the fans who support their teams and voting for this as the Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week.
Grace Kerwin with 2 goals on the day. The third tapped in by Jasmine Cubbage, and that certainly, I think, puts Kerwin as our Phila Field Hockey Player of the Game for today.
In a few moments, we'll actually have an opportunity to speak to some of the Abington players, so stay tuned.
We'll take a short break and be right back on the Sports Fanbase Network. down on the field for the Phila girls field hockey post-game show with the star from Abington today. 2 goals on the day, Grace Kerwin, and your first one was a great redirect inside coming off of the corner.
Yes, it came right off the post. I'm glad I got it.
So you guys looked to kind of mix it up a little bit on your corners. A couple of times you guys went with the straight first hit and then a couple times on the redirect. What do you guys work on a lot of times in strategies when you go into situations like that?
With corners, we just got to feel it out, and if it's a flop, we got to go with it. We got to have a pass and just straight drives.
3 games into the season so far, 3 wins on the
Yes.
season. It's got to be a good start to how things are.
It is. It's going great. I'm proud of the team. We're doing also very well. I just hope we can keep it up the rest of the season.
First time in 15 years Abington played against Upper Dublin. You come away with the win. Get a little bit of bragging rights going back to school tomorrow now?
I hope so. I mean, it feels really good, so
All right, well,
glad
thanks
to
a
be
lot
here.
and good job today.
Thank you.
I think we also wanted to try to get Elena Swift, and we're going to try to see if we can grab her from the coaching side. She's going to come over. Matt, nice to meet you.
I'm sweaty. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
Oh, I can.
Stalwart player in the midfield today, Elena Swift, and got a little bit of a stinger in the ankle too.
Yes, I did. Oh my gosh, I thought I could run it off, and in the game, of course, I would want to run it off, but it was a little too painful, so I had to sit back down. But I was eager to get back in the game.
It seems that you're playing a lot of contained defense today. Abington constantly having 4 to 6 jerseys behind the ball at all times, and you were able to block out that midfield position from Upper Dublin. How big was that in your game plan?
It was pretty big, but I had to give it to the midfield. They did stop a couple balls, but when it came to coming in the middle, I middled the. I just played as hard as I could, just channeling and forcing.
3 games into the season, 3 wins so far for you guys. It's got to be a good start.
Yes, I'm so excited for the season. I feel the confidence, and I'm so ready to keep winning.
So what do you guys have coming up? Your next game is.
I'm sorry.
All right, we don't look at the schedule as well, so well, you guys might know that one, but anyway, we'll.
White Marsh, we have
With White Marsh. All right, that's a good school to go.
Yes. No, but each game we're so excited. We want to have our A game each time. We know that each game we have something to work on, and clearly we have something to work on.
Well, your JV team.
Yes, oh my gosh, I'm proud of them.
Looks like you guys are going to go home pretty happy.
Yes,
Thanks for joining us today, and good luck in your season.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
Yep,
Thank you.
All right, that's it for us on the Phila Girls Field Hockey Game of the Week. We'll see you next week. Stay tuned to the polls to see who gets the game, and we'll be here live on the Sports Fan Base Network.
Yeah.